Welcome back. This is 10-2, continuing on with Introduction to Ecology. We left off talking about relationships between animals and their environment and plants and their environment. We can't forget the plants. And so we're going to continue on with talking about other things that can affect organisms in their environment. We have two main classes of things that can affect you. We call those biotic and abiotic factors. A biotic factor, bio meaning life, is anything that is alive that can affect you. So if I am a little bunny rabbit living out in a field, the biotic factors around me might include that coyote over there that wants to eat me, that dandelion over there that I would like to eat, and that rabbit over there that I would probably like to mate with. Because I'm a bunny, not... That's weird. So anything that is alive that affects my way of life is going to be considered a biotic factor. Now, if I'm that bunny and I have abiotic factors affecting me, those would be the non-living things, like that rock over there might give me some shelter in case something was trying to chase me. The fact that it's been a very dry spring is affecting me because it's not producing enough food for me to eat. The temperature is causing me to grow more hair than I should, so to keep me warmer when it's colder. So anything that's not alive that affects how I live is called an abiotic factor. Okay, so when I put all that together, that makes my niche. That looks like niche, but it's niche. A niche is how an organism lives in its environment and how it uses those resources. So how well does that rabbit utilize what's around him, the holes and the tunnels and the trees and all that kind of stuff around him? How well does he provide a spot or a job in the environment that he lives in? Every animal, as small, big, gross, ugly, whatever, has a job, and when that animal's not there, other animals will take notice, and you think, oh, what about a housefly or a mosquito? Well, mosquitoes, don't do us any good, but they sure do the parasite that carries African sleeping sickness a good job because it's his host until he can put it into us. So even though it annoys us, it's needed for another organism. So your job as that animal in the environment, that's your niche. It's your role that you play in the environment, okay? All right, so your role usually will have something to do with other organisms. Most animals can't live a solitary life and not affect someone else. And so in the niche, your niche, you will affect other things and creatures around you. And so we call these things, well, they're interactions, but there's lots of different ones. There's what's called a symbiosis. Symbiosis just means you live together and you have a relationship. And so there's lots of different types of relationships that organisms can have depending on what type of organism they are and how they respond to those around them. So a very common interaction between organisms is competition. Competition is just like it sounds. It's when two animals are competing for each other not for a medal or anything like that, but competing for some resource that they both want at the same time, whether it's food, shelter, or a mate. If they're fighting with each other for some reason, we call that competition. Now, in competition, we usually have a winner and a loser. But most animals don't fight to the death. They want to try to avoid that. That's why birds have big showy feathers and hippos have big long teeth. It's because they don't really want to fight. They want to show off to the other guy to say, look, I could beat you up if I wanted to, but I really don't want to. So just take it from me. I'm going to kick your butt. And so a lot of animals will avoid fighting just by their shows and their displays, and that saves them a lot of energy. But if they do fight, one of two things is going to happen. Either one, someone's going to win and someone's going to lose, and then the winner gets whatever the spoils are. The second thing is this one right here. It's called the competitive exclusion principle. It means that one animal is probably going to get kicked out of the group. And so, like hippos. Hippos live in ponds. There's usually one male and lots of females. It's a harem. And if a new male comes in, they have to fight with each other. Now, either they're going to fight to the death, or whoever the loser is got to get out of there. And so he gets excluded from the crowd, and then he can come back and try later. But due to competition for the resources, the chicks, that he got excluded from the crowd and has to make way somewhere else. So that's what the competitive exclusion principle is. It says one species will usually get kicked out of the area because no two organisms can have the same thing at the same time. You can't have two male hippos with all those females around at the same time. It just won't work. And so one has to get kicked to the curb. That's what exclusion is. Some other relationships that we find among animals and even plants is predation, where one organism captures and feeds on another. So we got this nice little red fox here killing a bunny rabbit maybe there. And so he is the predator. I can't spell. The predator, he's the one that does the killing, and then we have the prey is the one that is being killed. Now here's a weird way to look at predation. It just says feeds on another organism. So if I have a cow, moo, and he's eating grass, well, is he a predator and is the grass prey? They're both organisms. The grass is being killed and consumed by the predator or by the cow. So is that a predator-prey relationship? Something to think about. Tell me what you think about that tomorrow. Okay, some other relationships. Symbiosis, we said that already. It's just when two organisms live together. They kind of like roommates. There's three different kinds of symbioses. If it's symbiosis, we're talking one. Symbioses is plural instead of symbiosises. So there's three main types of symbioses. One is called mutualism. We represent that with two pluses. That means it's good for both of you. So this butterfly and this flower here, this butterfly is benefiting from this relationship with the flower because he's getting all the nectar he can drink. The flower is benefiting from the butterfly because he's getting his pollen spread around so he can have sex with other flowers. So that's good for both. So we call that a mutualistic relationship or mutualism. Commensalism is a relationship where it's good for one, the other could, whatever, I don't care. So like we mentioned in one of my classes about dung beetles. Dung beetles love elephant poop, and they follow elephants all around until they take a crap, and then they roll their poop into a little bowl and take it back to their home, dig a hole, put the poop in it, lay an egg in it, and then when the baby hatches, woo, I'm living in poop, and they're all happy. So it benefits the dung beetle because he gets all the poop and nutrition he needs for his growing babies. The elephant could literally, like I said, give a crap. He doesn't care. You want my poop? Sure, do with it whatever you want. I don't care. So commensalism is good for one, the other, whatever. Then we have parasitism, which is good for one, bad for the other. So good for one is usually always the parasite. So if you have a parasite like a tapeworm living inside of you, well, he's being benefited because he's getting all the food and nutrition that you work so hard to digest. Bad for you, you're the host. Bad for you because you're being malnutritioned, you're having worms inside of you, and bad things like that. So these are three types of symbiotic relationships. All right. That looks like it. I thought there was another slide. I guess not. So this is a short one. So we'll talk about relationships, and we'll look at especially predator-prey relationships with some deer and some wolves that lived in an area how long? I can't remember when the year was. I think it was like the early 1900s. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. I feel like I'm always hanging up a phone when I do that. Okay, bye. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, see you later.